Today I'll be taking you behind the scenes of a volleyball media day shoot that went terribly wrong at the beginning, and we had to recover from that. So my name's Cole Warner, and I'm a media day photographer based out of Binghamton, New York. And for this shoot, we were doing a volleyball program's media day where we had about 30 athletes over the span of about 4 hours. So not a lot of time to play with. We had to get in, get out, and anything that went wrong made everything so much worse. For a little bit of context, I've been doing media days for almost 2 years now. I've gotten to the point where I've done 70 media days, and I've learned a lot about media days. And one of the major things is you always have something that's not going to go to plan, and you have to learn to adapt to it. Something I'm trying to make a habit of, or start a series of, is sharing what I'm learning and how I fix it, and also just the general stuff I have learned, picked up, skills, strategies, systems to make media day photography work well and ultimately yield photos that garner millions of views on social media. As of 2025, I had over 5 million views on some of the social media reels that I put out there, and that's just a little background into what I do.
All right, so this is an example of what being a photographer can be like. I don't know if you can even see me, but I am currently heading to a shoot. It's 6:50 a.m. I got up at 5 to prepare for this shoot. This is like a general feel of what it's like to be a photographer. It's working whenever, maybe once you get further down in your career, there's a little bit more control, but it's working whenever the availability happens, and it's working around. Like, not only are you booking a shoot at 8 a.m., but you have to, at least for me, I have to get there an hour early. So I have to get there at 7. And then not only do I have to get there at 7, but then I have to drive there and prepare all my stuff, wake up, the standard, which adds, especially when you're getting ready for a media day, adds another close to an hour to it. So realistically, 8 a.m. shoot's not bad. You wake up at 7:45 and go to the shoot, right? No, you wake up at 5 and you get ready for the shoot, or 5:30, depending on how far away the shoot is. But that's just the general take. It's that's what being a photographer means. Even if it's not, this is an exception, but that's I feel like the overlooked side of photography is, while yes, I am just doing a shoot from 8 to 12, it's so much more than that. And honestly, everyone knows it, but I feel like it is just not understood, if that makes sense.
So I get everything out, I get everything set up, I'm about to start taking photos. I'm a little wary because I'd had some issues with one of the 600 strobes in the past, and I'm like, I wonder if it'll work, because I had a swim photo shoot, and I think because of that, it honestly might have gotten some water in it, and because of that, it started malfunctioning. So I got everything set up, and I'm like, hopefully it'll work. Crossing my fingers, I'm like, please work, because I was right on the time where I said I wanted to start, and I just gotten everything set up. I take the first test shot, I'm like, let's take another one, right? And I take a couple, and I realize, okay, one of my rim lights, the AD600 Pro, was not working. And that's a pretty big issue, because that completely throws off the entire look. So luckily I carry some backups with me, and I was able to replace in a AD200 Pro where I normally have my fill light with an AD300 Pro. So I do a square, 2 rim lights up here, a key, and a fill light. So I was able to replace the fill light with an AD200 Pro and move my 300 Pro up to another rim in replacing my AD600 Pro. So that works out. I have to lower the power of the one rim light to match the power of the 300 Pro, because one's a 600 watt light and the other one's a 300 watt light, half the power. You just have to lower the power of the other one. And I do that, and I take a test shot, and I'm like, okay, we're good. This is going great. And I get the first athlete up to take the photo. She already had her poses picked out, and I'm like, we're just gonna start with the standard pose anyways. And we sit down, I'm like starting to take photos, and I'm like, oh shoot, I have to do the smoke. So I hit the smoke machine because I use like a remote dial or remote trigger to trigger the smoke machine. I trigger the smoke machine, I look down at my camera, I'm like, where's the smoke? I look up and I see the smoke machine is like not producing smoke because I was using quick dissipating fog juice, and I had, the gym had a very strong draft going in the opposite direction of where I had the smoke going. So it was just like the wind was coming at it and it was stopping. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. So I had to unplug the smoke machine, move all the cords around to the other side of the gym and also the smoke machine, and position it just right so that it would flow up and bundle into a big enough of a cloud and then move behind the athlete at the same time, which took some figuring, but we were able to get it done, and that made a huge difference. Ultimately made the shoot go a lot smoother once that happened. Now, I will say it still was not perfect. The smoke, as you'll probably see, is a little bit more patchy than I go for. I'll have a photo from this media day over here and a photo from a previous media day where the smoke looks normal on this side. And you can see that there's a lot more smoke, a lot more density, and it ultimately just looks a little bit cleaner. But at the end of the day, you work with the environment you have, and it was not that noticeable to a non-photographer's eye. So we got that done and it went really well. So the next point I wanted to break down, now that we got all the dramatic story of what happens when stuff goes wrong, especially at the beginning of the shoot, and how I go about fixing it, I now want to talk about a little bit more about my ideation behind how I run, at least like my package setups. When I do packages, I have like 4 different shot types that I go through. I have what I call the standard, the choice, the group, and then the team. And the last 2 are pretty self-explanatory, but where people can get confused and stuff is between the standard and the choice. Standard pose that I pick or the coaches pick, or someone picks at the beginning of the shoot, and every single athlete gets that exact pose. That's the reason why I believe it's important to do this, is it gives the parents who are used to more of a traditional team photo vibe, they get one traditional portrait where you get smiling, full face, something simple that embodies the sport, embodies them, and something that parents are a little bit more used to. And it also is a warm-up for me, because like most shoots are, you have to like warm up to the location, the settings, the environment, like the environmental challenges I pointed out ahead of time. And even the athlete, like by doing a standard pose, typically I try to do it first. It gives you a little bit extra time to get to know the athlete. So when maybe they want to do a little bit more of a engaging choice pose or something, you are already comfortable with each other, is I guess the best way to put it. Because ultimately, if I'm uncomfortable, as I've had my photos taken, and if I'm uncomfortable, you can see that in the photo. So the standard pose is just something to, like an icebreaker, you can call it. And that really helps make the rest of the shoot go a little bit better. And then we get to the choice poses, which are your fun, your action shots, your interesting poses, and if you want it to be, it can still be a simple pose, but it's something you choose that's an individual of your choice. And that is what a lot of people love about the media days that I do. And then we get to the group photos, which are amazing because you get to take photos with your friends, your teammates, and create memories that you can look back on and be like, oh, don't you remember when we played on this team back in whatever time, in middle school, high school, whatever it is. And that's always great. It's always a great time for everyone involved. And we get the team photo, which sometimes we get a little creative with it. Sometimes we get a little bit more plain with it. Just depends on the vibe of the team and what the vibe of the shoot it has been. Sometimes I'll get a little bit more creative and build out a dynamic team shot, which is not always the case because maybe A, I don't have the inspiration for a team of 30 members to make something dynamic, or B, it just doesn't fit the vibe of the players in the team. is what I found. Or maybe we do at the beginning of the shoot and I don't have a concept of what the vibe is, so I just go with the more traditional pose. So that's another thing that I do, is I tailor the team photo to the specific team, typically to the best that I can. And then we get to the part where I just highlighted out all these different pose choices and like photo types, I guess you could call it. But what I don't highlight enough, and something that I've definitely tried to improve, both on my website, I have like client prep guides and all that type of stuff. And then also when I'm messaging with whoever the organizer is, I'm always like, make sure you are prepared for your photo shoot. And for someone who does not do photo shoots regularly, you might ask like, what does this mean? I'm here to tell you it can be very simple, or it can be very complex depending on what your personality is and what you want to bring out of the photo shoot. I'll label one constraint I have when it comes to media days, specifically when I'm working with 30 athletes in less than 3 hours. If you do the math, that gives me less than 10 minutes per athlete. And that's not including team photos, group photos, stuff like that. So what I've learned is I can't come up with a creative pose for every single athlete and gonna match their personality, which is something that I aim for. I want the poses that we do for media days to match personalities. And that's not something I can figure out in 10 minutes. It's not even something I could probably figure out in 30 minutes. It takes a little bit more time. That's why with individual shoots, I can do that more. It's more creative, as some photographers call it. This is where the role of preparation comes in. If you're prepared with the poses you find on Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, my previous photo shoots, the web, wherever you look, and you're like, oh, I found this cool photo that represents who I am. Maybe it's like you're a farmer and you want to bring out a goat. Maybe you're religious and want to bring out your Bible or a cross or something like that. That is all examples of personalization and making it match your personality. And that's not something that I could necessarily do for you. So if you're prepared with your poses ahead of time, and maybe props, because props also are a great way to increase the personality shown in a photo. That's a very important thing that I highly encourage anyone that's working with me, working with any other photographer, to come in with some ideas. It doesn't have to be you spent 5 hours checking out poses, checking out outfits, whatever it is. You don't have to do that. But if you just come in with the basic knowledge of what poses match what you want to do, maybe I want to be like, I'm spiking the volleyball, I'm dunking, I'm dribbling the basketball, I'm pitching, stuff like that. That's all something that I can work with and amplify into a better, more rounded pose. Like, I can take ideas that you give me and make them better, but I can't necessarily give you the ideas. And that's where I encourage preparation, because it'll just make the experience go so much better. So after talking about poses and what poses and different types of shots that I offer in a media day, I want to talk about a very crucial part to making your media day, or really any media day that you might do, or any photo shoot you might do, just so much better. It is preparation. And I know a lot of people might think it's daunting. It can be. If you are someone that's hyper focused and hyper detailed into what you want it to look like, stuff like that, then it can be a little daunting. But I'm here to tell you, it does not have to be. And I have built out some systems to help make that a little bit simpler. So one major thing is Pinterest. Pinterest is amazing. If you take 5 to 15 minutes to scroll on Pinterest and screenshot a couple pose ideas that you like, when you search up your sport media day, you'll probably find that you'll find some poses that you like. And this drastically helps me. So ultimately, since I just yapped for forever, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to this yap, and I hope it's become valuable, whether you're a photographer, whether you are someone who loves media days, loves sports, loves photos, potential client. If you're a potential client, feel free to reach out. Link in the description of my website where you can go fill out a form, and it will just take you straight to my email, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if not, and you're just someone who's interested in photography, I extremely appreciate you watching. I know there's not many photographers, especially media day photographers, out there making content on how they do media days and all that type of stuff. So feel free to drop questions, send me personalized questions to my email, to my DMs, whatever. I am more than willing to answer questions, help out to the best that I can. But I'm also looking for ideas for videos in the future. If you have a question of like, how do you set up your lightings? What gear do you use? Stuff like that. I want to see what you guys are interested in watching and make this a very helpful and informative channel, because when I was starting, this information was not out there, or if it was very hidden behind paywall, stuff like that. And I just want to make incredibly informative, entertaining, interesting content that may fill the gap that I had when I was still learning. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace.